Hey, YouTube. Well, I'll be dipped. It's another perfect day in God's country, and I ain't lying. Hey, thank you to each and every one of you that tunes in, takes a minute out of your day to watch me flap my jaws. It's nice to be making these videos outside. I'm having fun making videos again, and I gotta be honest, it's been quite a while since I've had fun making videos. These videos I've been making for y'all lately are tons of fun. I love it. And so you can expect some more of these. But anyway, want to get back. This is going to be the $100 OBS Ford parts truck, part 2. I apologize to everybody that I cut that so short. I'm not used to working and making a video at the same time, or at least doing things that are, getting much productivity in. But I'm going to have to learn how to do that. And of course, having my beautiful wife with me to hold the camera and that sort of thing is certainly helps an awful lot. I do not have her with me at the moment, which is a bummer because that really does help. But here we are at my house. This is Lucky's place. You can tell by the Cadillac and this Nissan, which is odd. That's like my oddball in my outfit there. But I bought that for the wife. After I blew up her Jeep Grand Cherokee. I'll never buy one of those. Just not a Jeep fan, folks, but I'll never buy another Grand Cherokee. Man, I drove it for like 8 minutes without a fan belt or a fan, and it completely warped the motor, would never run again. Actually, it would run when it was cold, then it would tighten up and wasn't gonna. I literally blew the motor up running it too hot, a little aluminum piece of shit. Hell, I can drive my Fords for 30 miles without a belt as long as the battery's charged up. Anyway, what's so lucky? No. But anyway, so I bought her that thing. Now it's been like 5 years. Paid $1,600 for that thing. And I love it. It's a wonderful car, that Nissan Xterra, for real. But anyway, let's get to this beast. The OBS Ford truck. Now, I gotta be honest, fellas and gals. There's, like I told you guys, I cut that video short and said, okay, tune in next time to see how this goes. Well, a few things happened. One, I reached in there and grabbed that fan, and it wasn't hitting the shroud. Then I looked at it, and it was extremely close to the shroud, like you'd be lucky to slide a business card between the fan blade and the shroud. So I began to ponder, and I figured out exactly what happened, sort of, right? Sort of. If you understand about plowing, I got people, it's hard to be outside at my house because people will absolutely just stop. If I'm outside, it's fair game. Come back another time. Yeah, hi, I'm in the middle of making a video. I'll see you in a little bit. It's the most frustrating thing. For y'all that don't know, I've never lived in a city like since I was really, really young. And I live in this very small town, and it drives me insane that I can't come outside. When I come outside, people just want me. Like, hey, what's up, man? It's like, God damn it, I got shit to do. It's a good problem to have, folks. I'm telling you, it's a good problem to have. It is what it is. But that's Paula. She's a sweetie. She's one of my clients, and ironically, I'll probably be plowing her out with this truck this year. So I should have been nicer to her, but I'm like, oh, hell, I just started this damn video. But that's what happens here on a daily basis. So I have 2 complaints about living in this tiny town. It is truly a country town. Most of the people here are country folks. Good place to live. Everybody's got my back. I got their back. No problems here. However, I have 2 complaints. One, I can't come outside without somebody stopping me from working, which is the only reason, that's why I'm awake. I'm awake because I got shit to do. So that gets frustrating. And then the other thing is, now this is a more recent problem because this was a ghost town when I moved here. No thanks would be the only button. I can't tell what it says, but I see a no thank you button. I don't know why they're trying to sell me shit while I'm making a video. How crazy. I'm like, no thanks. Okay. God damn. You can't make this shit up, eh? Whatever, I guess it's gonna sit there now. Can't get rid of it. Well, goddamn. You guys think it's easy to make videos, eh? I would have probably a pretty decent video going already if if I wasn't being bothered all the time. I should almost start this one over, eh? Story of my life. If any of y'all who know me well, and you know that a lot of times I'm stressed out and hyper and all this, it's because it's the story of my life. Every single minute is up for grabs. Everybody wants my precious time. Time is so precious, folks, because I use all my time. I love being alive, love doing shit, so I utilize my time. So many people do not utilize their time. They have words that I don't understand, like boredom. I'm bored. I'm like, bored? I've never, ever been bored. Never told my mama I was bored when I was a child. Never told anybody in my life I was bored. I ain't never bored. I would almost enjoy being bored for a little while. Maybe I could do some stretching and some meditating or something. But anyway, so if you stuck around past all that horse shit, now let's make a video. This is the 1994 Ford plow truck that, yes, the fella sold it to me for $100. I keep telling him thank you every time I speak to him. I love these trucks. Both him and his mechanic were both done with it. They were both tired of working on it. The mechanic said, I'm tired of working on that piece of shit, blah, blah, blah. I'm the next guy in line. I'm happy to have it. They sold it to me for $100, which that doesn't happen often, folks. I don't want y'all thinking I score these every day for $100, but if you do hear of another one for $100, go ahead and give me a call, will you? I'll go ahead and get that one too. But she's a beauty. Plow works, everything. So let me tell you, boys, you know, he told me the fan was hitting the shroud because the body mounts are broken, the body's falling. When I took you guys to look at the truck, and it was the first time I saw the truck, I pointed out, well, there you go. He's got wood blocks in there because the bumper is attached to the frame while the body's attached to the body mounts. So you're now got blocks between essentially the frame and the body. So then, of course, I started thinking, well, if they done fixed it, how could it have gotten worse? But I see that these have sank a little bit, particularly this one. Maybe not so much the other one because they set it right on the bumper. So I got a little bit of adjustment to make and stuff here to fix this. But like I told you, I found the fan spun kind of freely. So I was like, well, why would he tell me that you can't drive it because the fan's hitting the shroud, but it's got a little micro inch in there and I can certainly start it. Well, I started thinking to myself, well, plow season's a whole lot different for those of you who don't live in a climate like this, where you wake up in the morning and you might have 12 to 18 inches of fresh snow, you know, well over a foot, sometimes 2 feet, and it's sitting on your truck and your windshield's frozen and covered in ice and all this. The standard procedure for plowing your place is to go outside, start your plow truck, turn the heat on high on defrost, crank it, even though the truck's still cold, and you go back inside and you have your coffee and your breakfast, and you come out about a half hour later, and all that shit's melted off your windshield, and then you can clear the rest of the snow off your truck and get in a nice toasty warm cab and plow. That's how we do things up here. So I theorized, well, the radiator hose sits right on top of the shroud. So if you're not driving down the road and getting that extra cooling of your radiator because you're cruising down the road and your truck's sitting there warming up, eventually it's going to be warm and you got that hot water rolling through the radiator hose, which has got weight to it and a lot of heat, which then softens the plastic on the shroud because it's plastic and it gets real soft. Then the weight of the radiator hose pushes on the shroud down into the fan. Did you get all that, boys? A lot of y'all probably going, Lucky's nuts. I don't know what the fuck he just said. Then there's other guys going, well, holy shit, I'll be goddamn, he's right. That's why I had enough room to stick a business card in there, because there ain't no snow on the body. Keep in mind, when this fella came out and started it, the last time he ran it was probably to plow snow. And by the time he came out after having his coffee, that dang fan was going tink, 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 tink. And he went, holy shit. Turned it off and said, that's it, I'm done with this thing. Tired of that kind of shit happening, right? I don't blame him. Well, I just told you why it happened. Keep in mind, he probably had 200 pounds of snow sitting on the front hood of this thing, too. And then everything got really hot, and the truck wasn't moving. All that stuff gets softer as it gets hotter. So Anyway, I was able to drive it home as is, and I think by the while I was getting closer to home, I think it started to rub the shroud, and that's kind of going in line with what I was telling you. The shroud got warm, and that plastic gets soft, and it's got a heavy radiator hose going on it full of hot water. So at any rate, I got her home. I have not done a damn thing to this thing, boys. We vacuumed out the cab and took the old shit out of it, and that's it. Unhooked the battery so we wouldn't have a fire or anything, because I didn't even monkey around enough with it to be confident, you know, and it could have a battery drain or something as well with the plow and all that. That way I didn't have to figure out all the switches to turn off and shit. I just unhooked the battery and all that. But she's a beautiful truck, boys, so I wanted to give you guys the preliminary. Every time I get a new vehicle, you know, I like to really get to know the vehicle before I... it's going to be so hard to do while holding the camera. See, I've never done anything like this. I'm so discombobulated, I can't find my hood opener. Sometimes I forget which years I got. I'm going to have to set this dang laptop down, y'all. We'll see if we can't do this way. That's why I need my beautiful wife helping me out, eh? Anyway, let's get under the hood on this damn thing. Now I'll just be on autopilot here. I know right where that son bitch is. Well, God damn it. What's going on here, boys? All right. So, anyhow, let's get under the hood here, and I'll show you guys why I drive Fords. You know, I'll show you guys what I had to do. Oh, would you look at that? See, that's why I drive Fords right there. This one came with a cold Pabst Blue Ribbon. Well, gosh darn, I'll be dipped in chocolate fudge, that kind that hardens when you leave it on for a little while, and then it crumbles and gets all over your dad's seat in the back of the Polera, and then you get your ass whipped for it later. That don't ring any bells? Oh, it's going to be a good day. That's just OBS factory Ford. They used to come with a Pabst Blue Ribbon back in the day. Oh, that's a good gosh darn beer, too. It was good and cold last night, so. All right, let's see what else is under the hood. Hell, maybe there's a pack of Marlboros under there, too. That'd be nice. All right, what do we got? So, boys, see if you can see any of this. See the fan right here? Literally, I can't even can barely get my fingernail. Oh, it's going to be hard. Between the fan and the shroud. So and there's all kinds of room below it because it's just sunk a little bit more, fellas. But this is also your radiator hose. And like I said, my theory is he was warming the truck up and it was sitting and idling. And this just got warm. Look, see how this gives? See how that gives? You fill this with hot water and let this warm up, and you are hitting the fan blade. So, because look, fellas, when I started it up and it wasn't hitting, the first thing I tell myself is, wait a minute, you know, there ain't nothing wrong here. What's going on? Why would some guy tell me that the fan's hitting the shroud and he don't want to fix the truck anymore? And I get there and I can start it up and it ain't hitting the shroud, but it looks like it should hit it. Well, now we know, fellas, that's exactly what was going on. So I put it all together in my head and said, well, yeah, damn straight. You start that truck and let her warm up for 25, 30 minutes without moving it. You know, keep in mind, of course, they'll keep themselves cool enough to sit and idle, but you're also not driving. So it's just sitting there, basking in its own heat. So my theory is that's what happened. And, you know, he don't want to deal with it no more. I'm happy to have it. It ain't going to take much. I don't have an exact plan yet. To be honest, I was thinking about taking a couple little wooden wedges and tapping them in under the blocks that exist. And then I can carry a hammer with me in the truck. In other words, they'd be adjustable then. You know, now that's some hillbilly engineering right there. So you got to think outside the box when these trucks get a little older, and you got to be smart about it. So if I got some wooden wedges that got fatter as they went back, and I just tapped them under there, maybe brought it up, you know, 1/8 of an inch right now so that it's not hitting the shroud. then I believe I'm good. Now, if I'm ever out somewhere 30, 40 miles from the house and plowing or something and something moves and that fan starts hitting the shroud, I grab my hammer and I can add a little more wedge and lift her up a couple more millimeters or maybe up to an inch or a half an inch or something. So that seems like my plan for now, but I swear I haven't looked at it. I've never even crawled under this truck. You guys are in this with me. I have so much going on right now and so many projects. By the way, my friend Scott, Level Realm, drummer, my man, good drummer, professional drummer. For all of you who don't know, a lot of people wonder why people know me for years and they'll go, oh, I didn't know you were a musician. Why don't you call yourself a musician? And I say, because it would be disrespectful to the musicians that are still working, because I'm not I won't travel anymore. Once you won't travel anymore, you ain't a musician, boys. Sorry to tell you. If you're working locally, hey, that's cool. Scott might be working locally. I don't know. For me, I always wanted to work 4 nights a week. That always involved traveling. So for 20 years, I was traveling, playing gigs anywhere I could get them. And that's that. So I am a musician, I guess, but I'm not a professional musician because I'm retired from that gig. And I still know lots of super talented, super great people that still make a living touring and playing music. So I'm not going to disrespect them. I'm not a musician anymore. I'm just a hillbilly that plays guitar. I do have a gig coming up in about a week and a half, though, or like the first, like November 2nd or something. Be down there at the Church in the Valley Bar down there in Alston. But boy, do I get sidetracked, eh? Anyhow, folks, so this is the kind of the tour. And, you know, I'm just going to drink it in for a while. I haven't had a chance to do that yet. And that's a very important procedure I go through every time I get a new vehicle. And I've been doing that for 25, 30 years. Anytime I get an old vehicle like this or a project, step one, get yourself a cold beer, start walking around it, start looking at shit. It's time for me to crawl underneath this thing, take a better look at the whole, you know, all the gizmos, you know. I know my way around these trucks pretty good, and there's certain things that always go wrong, and then there's a bunch of other shit that could go wrong that I never heard of. But, little bit of rocker issues, little bit of cab corner issues, or at least there's an issue where there used to be a cab corner. But as you can see, she's decent enough. Like I said, we took all the junk out of it, vacuumed it out, and she's going to get the coon tune here before you know it. You know, I like cleaning them up, keep them from rusting anymore. All this rust here will all be oiled and, you know, treated in one way or another so it doesn't continue. And, you know, you just do the best you can to fight that. But this one's got a beautiful tailgate, which ain't all rusted down here, which is really rare. I don't know if he just never used the bed, never put anything nasty in there, or maybe the tailgate was replaced. But either way, the tailgate is almost perfect. I'm not going to close it for you right now because there's all kinds of shit down in there from when I opened it. So that won't be closed again until it's power washed and oiled up and ready to close. And that's just the way that's got to be done. Absolutely love these rims. You know, one of these rims and tires is worth $100, in my opinion. I'm not saying I'd give somebody $100 for it. Of course not. I'd talk them down. But these are certainly very nice rims and tires. You see these on the old Fords every now and again. I believe they were a Ford option because there's a lot of them out there. It could have been aftermarket. I don't know. But anyway, boys, I just wanted to show it to you guys a little bit so y'all can drink it in a little. I'm going to drink it in a little bit here, and maybe I'll fire this laptop back up when I get ready to start this thing and show you guys that, you know, it runs really well, smooth, nice, man, like it should, I reckon. Very nice running 5.0, and the plow works wonderfully, man. So a few things I got to do, tighten down some wires and all that, hook the battery back up, make some tight connections where I made some temporary connections to drive it home, and blah, 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 blah. So my friend Scott Level Realm tells me, yeah, man, hey, Lucky, I don't think that motorhome was ever 155 grand, closer to 100. And I said, yeah, I know. I was chuckling when the guy told me that, but I didn't really have no reason. But he's right. Old timers, he said maybe it's some dickering, but you got to understand old timers in the UP, man. They like to have a good time and fun too. You hear me talk a lot about fish stories. He was chuckling and laughing when he said 155 grand. Although I did have to do some quick math. Like, even if he paid 100 grand for it, he might have added up all of his payments with interest and insurance and all of that, and he might have shelled out 155 grand over the years. But wait, there's more. You know how I kept saying, I can't believe this is a 2017. That just shocks me. Well, I talked to another fellow who lives up the coast there, and he says, 2017, hell, Bill's had that damn motorhome sitting there 15, 20 years. I said, really? He said, yeah. I said, I had a feeling it can't be no 2017 if it's been sitting there 15 years now, can it? And I said, well, maybe it's a 2007. He said, probably a 97, which would be ironic because that was roughly my first guess, that it was probably a 97 or a 98. Until I looked at the cab real good and got under the hood. That made me say, okay, this could be a lot newer. It's really clean under the hood, because, of course, they don't open it and let the rain come or let the woods in, But anyway, that thing's really clean under the hood. But anyway, for now, it's the mystery machine. And Bill's not available for a few days. So I'll be back in touch with him next week and see what we can't work out on that motorhome. But, none of y'all told me under the comments what you think it's worth. By what it's worth, I want to ask you guys, if you go back to that video about the motorhome, what would you give the guy as it sits right now? I get it. When I power wash it and do all the work, it'd be worth a few more bucks, but keep in mind that I'm getting intel from the neighbor who's probably pretty accurate, still works for a living. Old Bill that owns the motorhome, he's fully retired, been retired for a while. But he's telling me he thinks it's been sitting there for 15 years or more. So that changes a little bit with the it ran when it was parked. Makes a little more sense why he might say, well, first thing you're going to have to do is see if it'll start and drive. Well, yeah, if it's been sitting there 20 years, it might be a little tougher to get her to just fire up and drive her home, but I'll do it anyway. But anyhow, it doesn't really matter to me, folks, what year it is or whatever, although that may affect the numbers. That's going to affect what I can get for it on the back end. One of the reasons I was really interested in it is because he said it was a 2017, which would make it pretty easy to flip because it's pretty new with very low miles. So if it's a 97 with 27,000 miles on it, that's a whole different beast. But I'm going to guess 2007, because that would be close to 20 years, right? My friend's like, I don't know, 15 to 20 years that some bitch been sitting there since it moved. He's saying since it's moved. He said it's never moved in 15 to 20 years. So, well, that makes more sense than if he bought it 7 years ago, then he drove it 29,000 miles. It couldn't be parked for more than 4 or 5 years. But anyhow, so the big RV that I took you guys on the tour with at this point is a mystery. I'm going to say it's probably a 2007, and he probably paid about $109,000 for it, maybe $100 in 2007. In 2017, I think he would have paid about 109 or 111, or it depends on the options. They can nickel and dime you to death on those things. Well, we'd like to sell you this option and that option. It also has a Generac generator in it, by the way, boys. I mean, as you guys know, the generator in that thing is probably worth a couple of K, I mean, they usually have really nice generators in them. It'll be a gas-powered generator. Since it's a gas-powered vehicle, that's typically how they do that. Like the generator in my tour bus was a diesel generator because my bus was diesel. So you don't got to swing around from pump to pump and shit like that. So it's probably got a gas-powered, a gas-powered Generac generator, but a whole house style, to run the whole RV, including the dual air conditioning units and all of that stuff. So a very serious onboard generator in that thing as well. So there's a lot of cool stuff there. But I'd be really curious to hear what any of my listeners would say that they would give them. You know, I know a lot of you guys like to screw around with this kind of stuff like I do. What would you give that guy for that motorhome in the condition that it's in, understanding that I'm probably going to have to make a deal on it before I ever put a battery in it, see if it'll run, see if it'll drive. And we all know it's got a big gaping hole in the ceiling, which means there's water damage. Now, I will tell you this. There is no way, even after I fix that thing, even if I made it look brand new inside, I would never sell it to anybody without telling them that there's been previous damage that I repaired. I just wouldn't do it, folks. Because a lot of people, that would shy them away, because everybody knows RVs, right? When they leak and you get water in them ceilings, you know, there's certain damage that's permanent. And, right, I don't know how bad that is yet. I haven't got my peepers on it good enough. It's sitting there in the woods in the dark. But keep in mind, if you do decide to answer my question of what would you give him for it, keep in mind that to resale something like that, I would be going way under Blue Book and putting that right in the ad. Well, you know, you can get a really good deal on this coach because it's had water damage repaired, right? And, you know, and hopefully it would be properly repaired and would never affect the other person again. But they deserve to know. It's like if your car was totaled, you know, and then had a salvage title and they go get a new title. Pretty nice to know if you're buying a car paying top dollar for it that it was freaking totaled once, you know. But that's just how I am, folks. If I do a job like that, you know, I absolutely, I'll pass it along to the next guy. That's why I told you guys before, someone's going to get a good deal on it if I end up with it, because they're going to get the true story and they're going to say, hey, this, you know, this knocks 20 grand off of the motorhome and you can get a good deal as long as you know that it had repairs made. And that's why I got it cheap. And that's the way life goes up here. So anyway, it's been a really exciting week for me. I love the new projects. It's been a good month, man. I got a new boat, 31-foot cabin cruiser this month, and got the new plow truck. And now I'm trying to hustle up that motorhome. That's a lot of good projects right there. And that's money in the bank, y'all. So, yeah, that's about it. Oh, boy, that's a good beer right there. That's a good, Pabst Blue Ribbon makes a good gosh darn beer, I'll tell you. That's a good beer. I might have to go buy me another Ford truck. About halfway done with this Pabst Blue Ribbon over here. But anyway, thanks for hanging out with old Lucky Haskins. I appreciate it. Anyone takes a moment out of their day to hang out with me and listen to me flap my jaws. And ask yourself, who can I help today? And most importantly, y'all, be good or name that some bitch after me.